Hi guys, welcome to The Identity. Thank you for tuning in to Hope Channel. My name is Samuel Mangi. Now, this is a show that we seek to identify with Christ, through our experiences as youths, and get to seek some practical responses or other solutions to things that you're going through. Now, today we'll be talking about ministry or other mission, and we'll be focusing on patience in service and growth. Now, join into this discussion through our social media platforms. But before we get there, in studio today we have Herman Tambo. He's a trained lawyer. We also have Pastor Moses Joseph, a pastor at the University of Arusha, and also a PhD student undertaking theology studies. We also have Winnie Kemto, who's a student at the University of Nairobi, and finally we have Agnes Morin, who's a medical student, joining in this discussion through our social media platforms, which are going to be displayed on your screen. Don't forget to send your comments or questions to those handles. Guys, welcome to the discussion.
Thank you.
You're looking amazing.
Thank you.
I know you're looking for that comment.
Thank you so much. Now, our generation, in light to patience, has been known for a long time that we're not patient. Since you've been raised in I want to say a laptop generation, more of everything is on a click, like right click everything and it's gonna work. Has that affected our approach or rather our attitude towards ministry or mission, Pastor?
For sure it has affected us because, previously people used to see life differently than we see today. In a previous episode I shared that many people see that they need to attain certain goals at a certain stage in life, and they feel the same about mission. And mission sometimes is put aside, and we focus on our personal careers instead of also embracing them together. Because a mission is a lifetime work, and it's not just to be taken in 3 months or in 1 week or in 2 weeks. So I think because things have gotten so efficient, we also want efficiency in mission, that I go there, 2 weeks, done, baptized, I can go back and report and I'm cool, I've done my mission. But that's not what the ideal of mission is.
When somebody's watching and probably he or she is asking himself, what is mission, basically?
Well, many people have been corrupted about mission, actually. They think mission is about you going to the far lands and, but mission is actually witnessing. It is sharing the love of Christ with someone who doesn't know Christ, starting with your family, your friends, your neighbors, before you even go to the lands and further hills and stuff. Yeah.
Before you get to fly
across
the countries and going out for mission. And I want to bring you in, Agnes. The young guys in this generation, we psyched up for mission, or is it something that is imposed, or we are waiting to get to a particular age to be the front head?
That's an interesting question, by the way. People are different, and depending on your perception of what mission is, that's what is going to give you the motivation for going to mission. The first mission I went to, in all honesty, I wasn't going to minister. I was going because my friends were going, and I had Mazee mission equal lit, and I was like, wow, hey, mission lazima tuende. But then after you grow in Christianity and realize the value of one soul and how much God loves us, then it instills in you the discipline of going to mission to actually minister and show others the love of Christ. Yeah.
Herman, I want to believe you've gone for mission before.
Yeah.
What was your first experience before you become probably this master's person in mission? What was your first experience?
That depends on how you're defining mission. If we define it the way the pastors defined it, of course mission would be just the person next to you. I can say my first experience trying to actively win someone for Christ happened when I was in high school, in Form 1. A friend of mine, we just used to talk about what we believe, about things which are not true that a lot of Christians believe. And I didn't even make an active effort to try and win him. It's just from those conversations he picked it up. Then one day he came secretly, told me, I want to get baptized. It came out of nowhere. It was so sudden. I was shocked, but I was pleasantly surprised, because it means that from the daily conversations that we were having, you know, it was not even an active effort that we were trying to preach. We were just having conversations, and the fact that we were honest enough to say the truth, even when we were among people who don't believe the things that we believe, the fact that it convicted him. And he actually became even one of the leaders in the church later on when we got to higher classes in school. So that I can say that was my first experience trying to win someone for Christ, even though I was not trying to intentionally do it. Yes.
You know, there's something under that he's brought out, and I want Pastor to probably help clarify. You know, he used a statement that how pastors define mission. Probably could help us, you know. Probably you should start with what's your perception about.
I was actually talking about what he said at the beginning, that mission may not necessarily have to do with going to a foreign. I think this is actually Winnie who said
yeah,
it was Winnie who said
she
this.
was there thinking, what?
No, really.
Let me give credit where it's due.
Let's not plagiarize.
No plagiarism. I think Winnie defined mission and said it starts with the person next to you, the people that you live with at home. Before you even go to preach in a distant, faraway land, does your mother or your sister or your friend or your brother, do they know Christ? These people that are close to you. And, you know, through that interaction, you can begin showing them the love of Christ at that very basic level as you grow and advance. Of course, organizing a mission and going to, let's say, maybe a faraway place with a group, a team to preach, that's very easy. Anyone can do that. But I feel like doing it with the people that are closest to you, I think that is where the real mission begins as you advance.
Pastor, I want to bring you in, and thank you for making that clarification.
Yes,
And
yes.
probably you could help us understand, you know, people think that this mission is self-imposed. You know, I feel like I need to save a soul for Christ. It's my responsibility. If I don't do this as a young guy, I don't want to grow old and say, I wish I did this. Who is to give us this authority to go for mission? Is it something that it should be more of a culture, or is it something that is coming from within?
I think it's something that actually doesn't come from within. It's an injunction that the Lord himself gave to us. It's a command for his disciples. When he was talking that, go ye therefore and make disciples, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and etc. We know that from Matthew 28. He wasn't speaking to people who are not Christians. These were people who were his disciples, who had been with him and who had an experience with him. And as a result of that experience, they needed to go out and share this. And so it is something that we need to realize that it's actually part and parcel of the identity of a Christian. Yeah.
Amazing. And truthfully to say, sometimes missions are not all nice. You know, Winnie, I know you've had some experiences in mission. There's some missions that you go and you're like, man, did I have to come here? At that moment, have you at times felt like, you know, this is the end for me? It's not for me. I'm too young for this.
Well, thank you for that question. I have actually had the privilege to be a director in one of the camps that you're having mission on, and tell you, I reached at a point I was just like, whoa, I need to go back home. I don't have to deal with all these personalities, you know, because, you know, at mission you meet different kind of people, and people who have come for different purposes. There are people who have come to minister, but there are people who have also come to work for the devil. So you don't know who.
Joyriders.
Yeah, they're also joyriders. They're actually people who have also.
Agnes, but I won't say joyriders.
That's how I was looking at her. You know, when she laughed, I was like,
Very suspicious.
But actually, at that point, it's God who is going to work on you. You know, at that point, God is testing you. He's actually seeing if you know how to deal with people. He's actually putting you in positions where he's going to train you for the better part. I actually learned how to pray most when I was dealing with people, because I was just telling God, I don't know how to deal with these people, but just give me the control.
Sammy,
yeah.
Can I give an actual story based on the question that was? So one day we went to town from our church. We had organized to move into the CBD to distribute Great Controversy books. And, you know, we were marching together. It was a big group, you know, almost 200 to 300 people.
Wow.
And we had flyers and to invite people for a campaign that was happening in church, and a copy of the Great Controversy. And it was really, really interesting how you'd go give someone a book, they'd look at you and they tell you, no, I don't want it. And you tell them it's free, and like, I don't want it, I'm not interested. See, you guys are from that church over there. Yes, I'm not interested. And it can really bruise your ego. if you go with a sense of self-importance, and it can really make you feel frustrated. And you know, if you're that kind of person, you can even start questioning your own sense of self-worth. You ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Am I not dressed well enough? Am I ugly? Is my breath stinking? You know,
Am I not smiling?
am I not smiling enough? Is it because I'm not a lady? You know, you can really get yourself asking yourself a lot of questions. Now, it was a simple mission, just one afternoon, but it really taught me a lot. And you know, the way you've said, if you're the type of person to get easily discouraged, you could have really gotten discouraged and left that place. Some people would even take the book, then you see them leave the book where they are, then they go without the book. And you know, it's like they just took it to please you and that kind of thing. Some people are like, I'm taking it, but I'm not going to read it, because I'm only taking it because you've insisted. Yeah.
And I think one of the experiences that I had is that some time back that we also had these flyers. You know, we went to share the good news. We have an evangelistic campaign. Come, it's going to be an amazing experience. Paul took. We went on our way back, only to find the papers.
On the road. Yeah.
It's like we had a laid-on carpet all our way back. You know, at that moment I'm like, guys, do you really know what you're missing? I mean, this is the precious truth, and I want to bring you in, Agnes. You know, at that moment, you don't really have the courage to, you know, the only thing that comes to you is anger. You know, like, you guys, please, add voice to this.
Okay, so I've had a similar experience. We're also like just distributing flyers. I mean, they're just flyers. What's the worst
A
thing
piece of
a
paper.
can do? I mean, yeah. So you know, you walk into someone's shop, they look at you like umekuja kuwaibia, and you give it to them, and they're like,
No thanks.
kwanza atakuuliza hii ni kanisa gani? Sisi ni wa Adventista wa Sabato. Sawa sawa. But there's also, like, it's not about the bad parts, but on the bad parts, at the end of the day, you're not working for yourself. As Pastor said, it's a commission that Christ gave you, and strength for the day, the Lord will provide. So when you meet with discouragement, God just gives you the strength to go on, because trust me, even for your experience, for the pieces of paper that were lying down, believe me, there was one person who took that flyer home with them and may have attended the evangelistic campaign. As I said before, it's not about the multitude, it's just about that one person who will be converted by the
Amazing. I
truth.
want to bring you in, Pastor. You know, with the changing times, and just as you said properly, with the efficiency of things, you know, instead of doing fly, you cannot just email somebody. But now, I'm just saying, are we young guys patient? Are we patient in ministry, in, you know, reaching out to people? Or if you're not taking this, I'm gone. You know, are we patient?
I think this is one of the biggest challenges. Even as I sit here, I'm listening and I'm just reflecting. Even our perception of mission has been quick fixes. And even just because I've heard the 3 stories, I'm not saying that that's the general thing that we're doing, but you know, we think, okay, we're gonna go today, we're gonna give out the leaflets, we're gonna be done. And then after that, do you ever go back to visit those people? Do you ever establish a program for them? And this is why some people never even accept these things, because of the fact that we want efficient things, we want quick fixes. We don't really pursue the true mission that God has called us. Look at the early church, the way they were doing things. It was actually a lifestyle. And you could see that Mark gave up, just like some of us give up along the way, because they were going for actual missions. And even when we say it's within the city, even if it's within your family, it's not a one-day activity. It's actually a lifetime activity. But the youth, maybe we have not been open. There are so many things we could do, but we don't engage in those things. We don't make it as a daily activity, like planning. What are we going to do throughout the week? What are we going to do after 2 weeks? Are we going to come back after 3 months? And with that, it makes us lose patience, and sometimes it just breaks our heart. Or some people just feel like it's already, I'm done. I've done my mission. I've done my part.
Actually, to add on that, I don't like this idea of the flyers too much as a person, because you know, most of the times as youths, we go out to minister and we are given these flyers. Someone gives you a study written number 28, where the first 27 studies. You meet this person, I give you a leaflet written the mark of the beast. I mean, what's that? You have not even known if I understand the Bible, if I believe in the Bible. So we are first to create a friendship with these guys. We are supposed to know who they are, what they do, so that we go into the mission details before handing in the flyers.
And in fact, now that leads me to comment and say that even this approach that we use should be one that has a long-term strategy. Because, you know, just giving someone a book, walking up to someone and giving them a book, it's very impersonal. This person does not know who you are. They may 10 minutes later, they may not even remember who gave them the book. And there will be no incentive for them to read that book if there is nothing more that you've given them than just that. So I feel like, yes, there is a problem of impatience, but I feel like the systems that we create are also not efficient in terms of having the long-term strategy, making sure there's a follow-up, and most importantly, having that relationship. Amazing Facts was running a training in our church. Amazing Facts is this global ministry. They were running a training in church, and you know, as part of the training for the people who are doing this evangelism training, they were required to do studies with you know, whoever they had identified as potential you know, targets. And it was such a thorough program that they would need to do, I think, a number of meetings before they even invite them to church. So you go first of all, invite them, meet with them where they are, interact with them there. Don't go fronting the fact that you're SDA before them, because that is already going to bring up walls of prejudice amongst people who perhaps don't have the best impression of us. So I just wanted to say that yes, there is a problem of impatience, but also our systems and our approach can improve in such a way as to make it easy for people to make people more receptive, and also easy for young people who want to take part in mission to do their work effectively without worrying about some of these potential rejections.
Just very quickly, I wanted to just add that we also need to make commitments, because sometimes people just say, okay, I have only one-day commitment, weekends only. My weekdays I'm busy, I have work. And so this dichotomy already creates a problem for us. And it already makes us not be patient with the work of the Lord. Imagine if God told you that I'll only work for you just 2 days of the week. Just 2 days, the rest I'm gonna do my own stuff. So I think that, and when you suggest this to youth, like, okay, guys, we need to do 1, 2, 3. I'm busy. So I think, again, the society has created us not to commit to what truly we're called to do, mission, to, as you said, ministering to the people's need. Maybe the person is hungry. They don't want the literature. Maybe the person is going through an emotional problem. They just need to talk to someone. And we need to invest more, definitely.
You know, I would like also to bring you in, Agnes, and you know, you've painted a perfect picture, but I'm looking at it as a young guy, you know, probably I'm genuinely busy.
Yes.
You know, probably I'm genuinely busy.
Yeah.
But then this is about soul. This is about soul winning, you know. And I'd like to ask you, is this ideally for the person that you're sharing it with, or does it, okay, who is it benefiting more? Is it the person you're sharing it with, or is it yourself? What do you think? The sharing, yeah.
The Bible says the word of the Lord is a double-edged sword, right? Yeah. And much as we think it's usually ministering to the next person, you see, in class we usually say, come on, if you've understood something and you explain it to someone, it goes to your long-term memory. Okay, like in medicine, there's the short-term and the long-term. So when you talk about something over and over, it goes to the long-term memory. In the same way, when you minister to someone, when you talk about Jesus' love over and over again, we also have our setbacks, right? The moments when you'll be low, and those words will be replaying in your head as you told someone that Jesus loves them. Even in your dark moments, you'll remember that for real, Jesus actually loves me too. Yeah, so I think the mission field is two-way. It's not you ministering to the person only, because at the end of the day, who's the center sits it's Christ who's at the center. He's giving you strength and also explaining to this other person. So in the same way, he's also ministering to you.
You know, it's amazing that we've also used that analogy of the double-edged sword. And this would be my understanding that, you know, the more you share, as much as you think you're making an impact to people, which is a good thing, you're nourishing yourself more. You're making yourself more rooted to understand clearly what you're talking about. Because if today you're going to be talking about, let's say the Sabbath, for example. You know, today you use an analogy of when Christ died. You know, and do those counts. But then tomorrow you use another analogy and another analogy, and eventually you'll have a further and a deeper understanding. But this clearly shows me that patience is very important. Winnie, what happens if I just happen to ride along what Pastor said? I am too busy. You know, let me just do my bid and then leave.
Thank you so much for that. You know, the greatest sermon is a life well lived. So you don't really have to always speak with your mouth and say, yo, this is Christ and stuff, but you can live a life that, and people will ask you, they'll see, you know what, Herman, you're so different, why are you so different? They'll come to you. You don't have to run after them, actually. They'll see the way you handle yourself at your workplace, and they'll be like, this guy is different. I must ask him, why is he like this? You know, and even you can always minister to your workmates, your classmates, your colleagues. You don't have to. I don't think somebody is too busy to eat. Are they too busy to eat? People always find time to eat. Why can't you just share the word of God 5 minutes? It's just priorities.
Pastor John.
And it really needs to be intentional because, again, I go back to something I said before, the expectation that have been set that you need to get a job, you need to be moving up the ladder of your job, and you need to have this specific type of job. Remember, it's God who gives us everything. And so we need to ensure that nothing should come between us and what is our true calling. And do not be rushed. Don't be rushed in the processes of life that you neglect this aspect that God has called us to do. The Bible talks about that it's not only beneficiary to the other, to yourself, but also to the church. What kind of church would it be if every member is intentional about reaching out? It will be an active, growing church, passionate church. When someone joins in, they don't like look around, they are grabbed, and it's a beautiful church to even imagine. And I think it's something that we need to think about.
There's a song that my friend Herman Tambo likes to sing a lot, and I'd want to paraphrase of course I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing.
As always.
Because clearly every time I open my mouth to sing, it sounds disastrous.
Fireworks.
It's painful to
second verse
proceed.
This second verse says, we are called to take this light to the world
The wrong seems right.
That the wrong seems right. What could be a greater cost to share
life with
the
one
life with the one
who's lost. Or light,
you know, please continue.
I don't know if you're inviting me to sing.
You can do a solo if you want to.
No, not today. Yes, it's true. I just wanted to say it's important. The way Pastor said, let's not separate issues and say that, I'll live a life of service, then I'll live my life. If we can find a way to weave this into our daily lives, and the way Winnie said, in class, at work, wherever you are, if we can find a way of bringing that collaboration, then we will look at every opportunity as an opportunity to minister. And maybe we'll talk about this in part 2, but the heart needs to be involved just as much as the brain.
Very true, very true. Thank you for giving us that parting shot, and also just to give you what we call yet to come
Teaser.
Yet to come, or rather a teaser, is that you know, we are in a society that is changing very fast, and sometimes we as youths, because of our impatience, we feel like we need to rush. The church needs to adopt stuff. We need to. And I was sharing this with a friend of mine, and he asked me a question. I'll tell you about the question after the break.
I'm thankful for Ladha Mtaani, and I'm thankful for also the whole administration of Kitengela Prison. I am thankful to our there's our mwalimu, the one who's above us is called Senior Maritani. He's the one who's here, Marindani. And for this opportunity, you know, when we were back at home, maybe we were lost in not just the ways of life, and then tukashikwa na ukapata saa this opportunity ya kushowcase.
Natuambia ni kina nani?
This is the Commissioner General, the expected guest of honor who's supposed to come today. Though he did not make a showing, I was able to quickly replace it with the lieutenant who came.
And how long did you take to draw this?
About 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yes.
Wow.
When I came, I used to take a day, but through the help of the administration and our senior Marindani here, who has given us an opportunity to draw every day, I've been able to bring my speed up to about 15 to 30 minutes per drawing.
Tell us more, show us more pictures and tell us who they are and how long it took to draw them.
Okay. This is a picture of it's of a little boy who's just peeping through the window, seeing the greater world out there. To me, this just means we are young in our rehabilitation, and we're itching to get back out there and do something great. Yeah.
Is this a picture that you just thought of and drew, or it's a picture of some photo taken?
It was a photo taken, but I drew it. That was what it meant to me as I was drawing it. This is a picture of one of the seniors. He's called Senior Nyamai. Yeah.
How long did it take you to draw that picture?
This was one of the ones which took me a whole day. I was still very young. We actually even got classes through the help of the teachers here. They got us she was a teacher who was like the world number 2 in a competition, and she really brought my game up. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, this is another one. I'm quite proud of it. Of a little girl in class. To me, this just means we're here under the supervision and teaching of this institution. Yeah, they guide us a lot.
Before you change, I see some shadow that is behind it. Does that mean something to you?
We're many students. This is a whole classroom. And though the focus is on this one, we can't forget the people who are in the background. Yeah, the ones who made this thing come to be.
How long did that take you to draw?
This one, an afternoon.
Just an afternoon?
Just an afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, that is rehabilitation for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
This is one of the earlier drawings that I came.
This is where you started from?
Yes,
This is where you started from?
This is where I started from. I didn't know much about shading. I just knew about the proportions. So I drew Beyonce because I was a big fan of the Western music. I was in the world a bit. But now I've refined my salvation, and now I'm moving on to other things. Yeah.
Now we could probably show one of your last ones.
Okay.
We could show us one of your last ones.
This is a photo of my representation of Jesus, and he's the Lion of Judah and the Lamb of God who came to save us. Yes.
Something interesting to note is that last lessons quarter, this was the picture that was used on the Seventh-day Adventist lesson quarter. You know, did you have the inspiration
from there? Yes, I read it, I looked at it, and I got the inspiration from there. It spoke really powerfully to me.
This is your 4th month, and look at the transformation from this. Probably could say goodbye to this, and voila to this. Look at the works. You have a talent back at home, share with us on social media platforms, and you never know, you could be featured next in Hope Channel. It's hard to minister to souls when you're in a rush. I mean, you cannot get full when you're eating in a rush. That's
You
just
do
how it is.
actually.
That's debatable.
But it's artificial.
Yeah,
You
it's-
know, you're even chewing properly.
Yeah, you just
It's
want-
just my analogy, but then, you know, of course, you. What is it?
You've really
Anyway.
made her happy.
Yeah, it seems like you're making.
But let's look at it in this way. You know, we as youth right now, you know, we're exposed to very many things. You know, we have come to a generation where tech is used in literally everything. You know, and there's a need. Yeah, you're putting a phone, iPad. You know, but we are in a society where things are changing very fast, and youth have been knowing that we are the arrows in God's quiver. We feel like we need to go out there. But then, is this rush needful in ministry? Agnes.
Okay. There's a song, Take Time to Be Holy. The second stanza says, take time to be holy, let him, that is Christ, be thy guide, and run not before him, whatever betide. As youths growing up, you know, it gets to a point, especially in puberty, let's say for myself, I thought I was way wiser than my parents. I'd look at them and be like, you guys are from the dark ages. Now let me tell you, this is how we do things here. And you know, you grow up with this perception because, you know, like, we have so much. There's Google, there's YouTube. We think we have so much information when in the real sense, we don't. There's a saying in Kiswahili that says, what we see while standing, old people see well, they're seated down, you know. And
In fact, actually, it's more of what an old man will see seated, while as a young man standing, I cannot see.
you can
I can't see.
you can
You know.
maybe you have eye problems, but it's okay. So
Okay.
okay, so
Fine.
sorry.
Burn.
So I think it takes a lot of wisdom to realize that they've seen so much more than we have, and they have a lot of experience. And it's true, they may not be right in some aspects, but we're supposed to obey them in the Lord. So when they tell us that you shouldn't go there, just pray about it, you know, bid time and wait, because I mean, you never know. Yeah, but it's true, we are so used to instant gratification. Can I give an example?
Go ahead.
For example, I have short hair, but I want long hair. So the billboards everywhere advertising the oil that you just apply once and you wake up. I mean, overnight your hair is going to grow and voila. You know, I have flowing hair, or I have pimples and acne and the black spots. There's an oil that, you know, just washes it away and you wake up and you know you're like that person. So I think society has really put us inside a box, like to mingiza a box there, if that
I
makes
see what
sense.
you did there.
Yeah, but it's true, like we've sort of been, our thinking has been narrowed, sort of, so yeah.
Well,
I
please jump
wanted
in.
to answer your question also in the aspect of rush. There's this thing that my friend told me of three things. There's zeal, there's knowledge, and there's love. So when any of this surpasses the other, you will not do proper mission for God. When you are too zealous
knowledge,
and love,
and love.
You are
when you're
just
too
allowed to
zealous,
write that.
without knowledge and without love, you will not achieve anything, because you're just in a rush to do ministry without knowledge, without love. But when you have the love of Christ and you have knowledge and you're zealous, you'll go out and you'll look for souls. You'll have that burden of this for souls, and you'll go out looking for people to minister to. So all these three things should work together. They should be at the same level. Yeah.
Amazing. Pastor, please come in.
Yes, I wanted to just say that the young people have great ideas. I just have to admit, we have great ideas, we have innovative ideas, we have new ideas. But this is not a battle, you know? We're not fighting against the old generation. And the moment we realize this, the more effective it's going to make us. Because when the church board or the church members feel like these youth are like not respecting, they feel like they know it all, they're not going to let us do that. They're just going to be like, nope, they're not going to release the money. They're going to crash down our programs. Then we'll be heartbroken. Then we'll be like, oh, the church doesn't love us, and you know what happens. But we need to realize that we got to work together, that we're listening to them as in a sense of that what they ask us to do, we are doing, And when we are doing, they know that we are willing to work with them. And when we suggest our ideas as well, we can work together. So first of all, it needs to be that the youth also listen to what the elders are saying, and then slowly allow them to understand our perception. Don't give up. Don't give up, and allow them to mentor you, so that when we work together, we'll be a more powerful force.
Yes, please.
I wanted to read the text just to sort of reinforce what Winnie was saying. This is Romans chapter 10 verse 2 and 3. The Bible says, "For there I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God." It's talking about Israel if you read from verse 1. Now I know this verse can be applied in several contexts, but I think she was on to something that you need to be systematic and allow our inexperience to be guided by experience. I think that's a point that I cannot make any more than has already been made. But I would also wish to say that there's a balance. On one hand, we do not want to sit back and say there's nothing for us to do, but on the other hand, we do not also want to try and want to take things over and say, boo, let us, this is what we want to do. I think there's the element of testing out things. Sometimes something will not work. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a lesson that we learn and move forward with it. But also, just what Winnie said, there's a need to balance things out so that we do not want to just do a checklist that, oh, we've gone for mission, we've baptized 50 people, yay, glory to God. If there is no way of actually doing it in a proper way, being systematic, moving from one step to another, and making sure that as many people, if 100% are baptized, let 100% be retained.
Yes.
Because if you baptize 100% and you retain 12%, then you have as much as done nothing.
True. Our grandmother would say, as efficient as the new pamper is, don't throw away the towels. As efficient as the next model of an automatic car would be, don't throw away your manual car. Because sometimes we need to rely to the wisdom that comes from the elderly. Patience is essential in our growth. And I want to bring in Pastor again. Yes. Sometimes we sit and look at the church and say, why are we not adopting these things? People will say that it's working to their benefit, but we are not bringing this into the church and probably integrate it. What would be your take regarding that?
We need to be very careful as to the background of what they're doing and the end goal. Of course, there are great ideas that are out there, but we are also doing a lot of great ideas. This is not to say that, hey, let's be exclusive, trademark our ideas and they got their trademark. If something is working well and you can see that it has good principles, why don't you bring it and suggest it? Suggest it into the church, suggest it into the youth department, and work together to make this work with the church. Actually, there was a really good idea that I love to see. You see the Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints, we know them as Mormons. When they finish high school, actually they're required to go for 2 years of missionary work. And you see them, I think I even saw them here in Kenya, and they give themselves to just go out there and just do mission work, and then after 2 years, then they go back and they get full scholarship. Obviously, we are not going to have full scholarship for all our Adventist young people, but this is an idea from another church that I really think that we also as young people should not just be so determined to go to college, get a job, get married, but think about the mission. Think about Guam, who needs teachers who have no qualification. They just need teachers who are in college to go and help out. Think about Micronesia. Think about Vanuatu. Think about even here in Africa, many of the countries that need help. And if you can volunteer, you could also do that and take a year for Christ. It's really important that we learn also from other people about mission work.
Amazing. I want to bring you in, Winnie, and probably borrow from your experience in reference to what you're discussing about patience. Have you had this first-hand experience where patience was put to test, so to speak?
Yeah, I think I had such an experience because before I was actually trained to be a missionary, I used to go for mission without training, and that's what most youth do. We go out into the field without being trained to be missionaries. we follow our own methods instead of following Christ's method. You know, Christ's method is the only method and is the only sure method.
Yes.
And if we have that, we'll deny ourselves and let him lead. And that's when we would become patient with stuff. But then before then, I would just go. I would get angry. I would wonder why someone wouldn't let us into their doors. You know, I'm just knocking at your door. I'm smiling at you, but you're still kicking me out. What have I done? You know, staying under the sun. I was just like, no, we can do better. I mean, why would we just be under the sun, walking all day, just looking for people? So I got at a point I was just like, no, we have to find another method. And then I thank God for that training. It just taught me well. I don't regret a single bit about it. It taught me good perspective about ministry. It taught me how to go out, how to persuade people to even let me in. You know, those days I would just go, yo, I'm Winnie, I'm an SDA, and this and this and this. I've come to do this and this and this. And that's a turn off for people. But during this training, I was taught how to make friendships, how to start a conversation with someone I don't know. And that led me to get friends for Christ.
Amazing. Pastor, don't even let me borrow from experience. Have you probably had that experience when you know you're zealous for Christ, but somewhere, somehow, things didn't go as you would have thought?
It's a painful one to share, but I remember the first person who I led to Christ. I had prepared so much. I was just in college, and we were doing Bible studies every week. And I'm very zealous with my Bible study. Like I usually prepare a question and answers, my personal question and answers that he answers as we study. And I had a lot of studies for him. And you know, at the end, I used to have this amazing appeal. I was following every principle I've been taught, and it was like a serious thing. And obviously, at the end, because me, I thought this was foolproof method of evangelism. The person accepted Christ, and I was so proud. But a couple of months, or I don't know if it was a year later, I heard that they backslided and they were no longer doing anything. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Like, the person understood the message. I gave him the entire truth: Sabbath, food, salvation, state of the dead, millennium, everything. And it was so good, it was innovative. Like, I've never heard them presented that way before. And I realized that sometimes as a young person, you can think that the most important thing is to indoctrinate someone. It's just to give them the truth, you know, give it all. Okay, once you eat all this up, you're an Adventist, good, next person. But it wasn't just about that, you know. I feel personally, I failed in showing them Jesus' love. I was not patient to know that it's not a quick fix. It's actually a lifetime. It's actually walking with them, being with them, showing them it's not about the laws, but it's about, first of all, you loving Jesus and showing it to them daily. So I think that was something that really hurt me, that it's not just about doctrines. It's more than that.
I want to bring you in, Herman. I know you to be a zealous person, especially in school ministries. There's something about you that I personally like. And you'd say, you're going to prisons, okay, fine, we'll go, yes. But then when you go to school ministry,
He's a
that
chaplain?
No, I don't know. He's not a chaplain.
He is.
Huh?
He just said he
Oh,
is.
amen.
Yeah.
Forgive me for my,
Yeah.
You underestimate me.
Oh, come on now.
I'm sorry, man.
Yes.
I'm sorry, man.
Okay.
But anyway, I know you. I like that bit of you. Have you had an experience with sharing with the young guys? Because I know dealing with teenagers is really challenging. Have you had that experience where patience has been put to test?
Okay. Yes. You know, the reason why I'm very passionate about, you know, especially high school students, is because that is also the point where Jesus got me. And I feel like it's a very, very good time to really snatch someone from the claw of the evil one, because at that age, the commitment that you make at that age, it's going to be much harder for you to go against your word than for someone who gets the truth much later in their life. Now, the difficulty with ministering to high school students, especially from my own experience, is that at this point in their life, at least in my life, I had so many competing interests. You know, there's all these activities in schools. There's drama, there is football, there is music club, there is, you know, there's so many exciting things that you can get yourself involved in. And some of these things will usually work at cross purposes with your commitment to Christ. And I feel, at least in my experience, even once you've made the commitment, unless you make an active decision to cut out anything from your life that's not going to support this decision that you've made to be with Christ, you're going to find yourself sometimes getting off track. And I think when we're usually reaching out to high school students, not only are we trying to present Jesus to them, but we also want to tell them that certain things are going to become hindrances. Recently we had an alumni Sabbath in my school, my high school, the one that I went to, and the attendance was abysmal. There were so many functions happening in school. There was this sports competition, there was some TV station that had come for some activity on Sabbath, and a lot of the students decided not to attend church. And I remember a lot of the old boys made the point to the students who came to church that some of these things, they are going to work against your spirituality and against your commitment, and it's important for you to advise your peers that on Sabbath, make a commitment to be in church no matter what. Even if you are the captain of the team, make arrangements in advance and tell your coach or something that you're not going to be available on Saturdays. So I think the biggest challenge for high school students is distractions. It's also a problem with older people, but with young people it's really, really important, because some of them do not understand just how much it can impact your spirituality if you do not make a commitment, for instance, to keep the Sabbath every week.
You know what's amazing is that, again, I share this with close friends of mine, that the decisions that you make between 13 and 16, 22 and 28, if you don't get them right, you may have to revisit them when you are at late 30s or mid 40s. And if you miss something, man, you will have a hard time.
Quick thing, I'm very excited about this topic, and excuse me for that, because anyway,
It's okay.
I'm involved with the youth. But one thing that I've really been impressed with Kenya is the chaplaincy ministry towards the students in schools. I've seen so many church members getting involved in this, and it's something that I'm definitely taking back to Tanzania. Like I was with New Life, and they are actually training church members to become church chaplains. And some young couples, youth, like there was a couple who traveled 2 hours every Saturday to just go to one school to minister to the Adventist students there. And I saw them, I went to one of the Sabbaths together at Raleigh, and the way that those kids love the young couple, they just got married last year, and they just love the two of them because they've dedicated themselves to just go to this school every Saturday to give them nourishment. This is something that is not happening in Tanzania so much. I cannot speak for the whole Tanzania, but mostly I was a chaplain in Dar es Salaam, and I was a chaplain for all universities and secondary school. So it's definitely something that needs to be implemented. Young people can really get involved in different aspects, and the church needs you.
Amazing. I want to bring you in, Agnes. I mean, you're a student at the university level, and you're doing medicine. You're in school for a very long time, and you know there are a lot of distractions, and sometimes your patience in this, in God coming, you know, is sometimes it's a challenge. What could be your statement in reference to having patience in growth and also in service?
Okay, actually, that's a good question, considering that I found myself in such a dilemma. Actually, I'm still in that dilemma. First year in medical school is daunting and tasking. It's hard. There's so much bulk to read, to understand, to do. And then there's church. I mean, you know, I was given a role in church. It's so hard to balance. Believe me, it's hard because we go to class at 9 in the morning. We could leave as late as 9 p.m. I'm tired. I'm from dissection. I'll just go eat or skip supper, sleep. Wake up, find a text from the church elder. He's like, "What are your plans on the choristry department?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I forgot about it." And then I'm trying to plan things. A text gets in, with it, we have a cut in the afternoon, and this is what is going to be tested. You're like, "Am I even prepared?" And it's hard. But then we're talking about patience and learning to take one day at a time. Everything has its own time. Yeah, so I'm trusting in God. I've actually been praying about it because I don't want one side to suffer. I don't want to throw myself so much into church, because at the end of the day, I'm a student first. Like if I'm discontinued from medical school, I won't go and tell them I'm a music director, so there's no you guys can kick me out. That's not an excuse. And also, if I throw much of myself into schoolwork, then it means the music department in church is going to suffer. So I'm learning to like take one day at a time, trusting that God is going to give me the wisdom to know when to do what. And it's actually working, because the elder told me, like, you can get breaks in between your study and contact choristers and do what you need to do, but it's not easy in all honesty. And also there's so many distractions in school. Gosh, there is so much. There's
at that time there's a guy who's looking your way.
Let's not talk about
that one.
Let's not talk about
For another
that.
episode.
Please, I ask. Let's not talk about that, because that's like, because I mean, if I decide to get into a relationship, then I have, like, relationships are built on time, right? You know, I have to give the person
Patience. I'm seeing you're running out of time, and I feel like this is a point I should have made earlier. When you're also talking about patience in terms of service and ministry, we should also realize that just because you have, the way Pastor said, given someone all the doctrines, does not mean they're going to accept immediately. And you can do everything right, follow everything by the rule book, have the love in your heart, be zealous, have the knowledge, but it still doesn't pay off. I think some of us have benefited from, we are benefiting now from ministry that someone did many years ago. So it's also important that in as much as we put in so much work, let's not always expect instant results. You know, some book I read says some people will do the sowing, some people will do the reaping. So you just do your part. If you don't get immediate returns, unlike business or academics where you expect immediate return on investment, when it comes to soul winning, at the end of the day, it is God who converts hearts. We just do our part and then let him do the rest.
Thank you so much. As you come to a close,
Very quickly, we've not talked about growth. Patience in ministry and growth. I also believe that be patient with the work that God is doing in your life. Don't give up. Just because you're struggling with a temptation or you're struggling with an addiction, don't think that God is done with you. The fact that you're guilty, the fact that you're going back at his feet, don't give up. Keep getting back up and allow him to transform you. Some of the sins and temptations, they will be very easy for you to let go, but some will be very difficult. But do not give up. Keep working hard. The Lord is not done with you, and he will work to transform you to become the perfect image of God.
Amazing. I mean, I don't know, what do people say after such a powerful what do people say?
Actually, there's a reward, and God
statement.
promises us that, you know, when we persevere to the end, we will have a crown of life.
Amen.
It's not just anything, but we'll have a crown of life. Now persevere.
Amen.
Drops mic.
That's God work, you know? But one thing that comes out clearly is that we need to be patient. We might think that we're in a rush. I think this is the time that I get to tell you what the old guy told me. That young guys right now, you always behave like you're running, you're going somewhere. I mean, clearly, it's not like you're going to get out of the world alive. I mean, you know, he told me that after looking at how we lived our lives, you know, he told me that, you know, we all behave like we're in a rush, as if we can get out of life alive, which is not. I mean, we need to be patient. God's things work in his way. You know, there's no way we can rush salvation. There's no way we do not have anything to boast about if you've led somebody to Christ. If anything, that credit goes to Christ. What task is left for us is patience. Amen. You would go ahead and say, patience doing what? And that is, I think that will be the perfect definition of what patience is. Patience is not waiting. Patience is what you're doing while you wait. And who are you waiting for? Is it for the guy to receive Christ, or are you waiting for God to work through you for? It's a question for us. Till next time, may you be blessed.
Amen.